There is a famous saying, it takes 2 years to learn to speak, but 60 years to learn to keep quiet. We believe we understand communication. We talk, we listen, we use our body language, text, emojis. Yet we find ourselves constantly misunderstanding others and being misunderstood. We misinterpret text, assume intent, and we respond to what we think we have heard. What if there is more to communication than we realize? What if our definition of communication is so limited that it blinds us to the ways the world has been communicating all along? We think of communication as a human superpower. Is it really true? Nature tells a very different story. Take, for example, the honeybee. When it finds a flower filled with nectar miles away, it returns to the beehive and starts dancing. Not just any dance, a precise mathematical sequence of movements. To a human, it's just a wiggling bee. But to the thousands of bees watching, this dance is a detailed map, directing them exactly where to go, how far to fly, and whether the food is even worth the trip. Isn't that amazing? How about a few more examples? Consider elephants. They communicate with their families using low-frequency vibrations in the ground. Or the octopus. It changes colors to express its emotions much faster than we can put our emotions into words. It turns red when angry, white when scared, and mottled when thinking. Do you know even trees follow WWW? The scientists call this one Wood Wide Web, an underground fungal network connecting all roots, allowing trees to send messages. When one tree is attacked by insects, it sends a warning to others, prompting them to produce toxins to defend themselves. The older mother trees send extra nutrients to struggling saplings. Even a single blade of grass, when stepped on, sends distress signals to neighboring plants. In fact, at this very moment, while you're listening to me, there is another conversation happening using the most advanced communication system inside your body. Your immune system is talking to your brain. Your gut bacteria are influencing your mood. Your cells are whispering instructions to each other. Yet we remain oblivious to all of it. So communication is happening constantly, everywhere, all around us. But words are not needed or required. Yet a bee's dance never gets misinterpreted. A tree's warning never gets ignored. But humans, we misinterpret each other all the time. So much for our superpower. So where are we going wrong with our communication? Why are we unclear? According to George Bernard Shaw, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Clearly, there are more problems. When a boss says, "Get this report ready ASAP," as soon as possible, what does that even mean? To one person, it could mean before lunchtime. To another person, by the end of the week. But to the boss, it means right now. Words don't always mean the same thing to everyone. They can be interpreted differently based on individual experiences and backgrounds. So using jargons or ambiguous language can create confusion. Often we forget what it is like to be a beginner. We cannot remember what it means to not know something. So when we communicate, we leave out extra details, assuming the listener already knows the context or can understand easily. The intellectuals call this the curse of knowledge or the expert problem. I witness this very often when we train faculty members in various institutions. They may be experts in their field of knowledge, but they find that students are sometimes unable to follow what they teach. Reason being, they assume that students have a basic understanding of concepts, so they teach without extra detailing. And insufficient information can create miscommunication. Recently, I started working with a senior advertising professional who shared that he had lost a major client. When he went to address his team, in his frustration, he blamed them and said that they always messed things up and never got anything right. What could have been a constructive discussion led to members getting defensive and reacting emotionally. When we are upset or stressed, our words come across more harshly than intended, and our body language and non-verbal signals can confuse or offend people. The real reason is emotions can cloud our judgment, making it difficult to communicate clearly and to receive information objectively. Speaking of information, we think technology has made us better communicators. Has it really? In an era where AI tells us what to think and social media tells us what to follow, we may communicate faster, but meaning has been distorted more than ever. Instant messaging, conference calls are often less effective than face-to-face communication because non-verbal cues are lost. It becomes very challenging to convey the finer nuances of our feelings, be it through facial expressions or gestures. Using only digital communication methods can lead to reduced personal interaction, which can make it difficult to build trust and to truly connect. While these reasons can affect clarity in communication, poor listening skills further add to the problem. Distractions, multitasking, not being attentive enough in a conversation can make it much harder to understand and to respond appropriately. Now that we know a few reasons why we miscommunicate, do we really know why it matters? What happens when we miscommunicate? Communication is our bridge with other people. The real danger of the illusion of clarity is that it burns these bridges. When we express or respond without thinking, it can hurt or upset someone, fueling frustration, creating unnecessary conflict and loss of trust. Wars have started over miscommunication. Families have broken apart because someone thought "I love you" was understood but never expressed. Companies have failed because expectations were clear in one person's mind but not for anyone else. Teams have suffered because leaders have struggled with giving clear, direct feedback. On a daily basis, it has been seen that miscommunication has a domino effect. It can affect our learning, create errors, hamper our decision making, lower our motivation, increase costs, and completely destroy reputation and relationships. This can make anyone feel scared of miscommunicating. So the next obvious question, how do we stop it? The answer is, we cannot. Surprised to hear that? I repeat, we cannot. Miscommunication is an inevitable part of communication, as it stems from misinterpretation. We speak, we can be misinterpreted. We don't speak, we can still be misinterpreted. While we can improve our communication, there can never be one single perfect interpretation, which is why we can never completely eliminate miscommunication. But here's what we can do. Increase our awareness. Recognize our cognitive biases. Question our assumptions. Pay attention to how we say things and not just what we say. If you find yourself misunderstanding someone, take a step back and reflect. Was the message the problem, or could your interpretation be the real reason? For centuries, we have believed words are the highest form of communication, and we have assumed a lot of things. That if we explain enough, people will understand it exactly as we intended. That if we write things down, meaning will be preserved. That the more we speak, the more effective we will become. This is all an illusion. What if communication is not about expressing more, but receiving better? What if we paid more attention to tone, energy, emotion, and not just language? What if our greatest limitation is not what we don't know, but what we refuse to question? The next time you're in a conversation, question your assumptions about communication. Watch how people express emotions even without words. Observe how silence can change a conversation. Ask yourself, is there an understanding or just an illusion of it? Because clarity comes not from assuming understanding, but from seeking it. One thing that we need to remember is more we communicate, we will also be miscommunicated. The fear of being misunderstood will coexist with the desire to be misunderstood. Every conversation will be a leap of faith, where clarity may be an illusion. But in that uncertainty lies our greatest opportunity to observe, to learn, and to connect. If we wish to lead, to make an impact, to create a change, then communication is where it begins.
Thank you.